Well, sorry for some feedback. All four of us are in one room, so I'm gonna probably just gonna run the meeting and show this PowerPoint. And when other teachers have to talk, I'll mute my microphone. Good morning, everybody. All right, let me just do this. Let me see if I can share again. All right, welcome to 7th and 8th grade. Um, in the room right with me is Mr. Wemos, who's going to be teaching science, Mr. Hyatt, who's teaching social studies, Ms. Lutwin, who's teaching English language arts, myself, teaching math, Miss Seeger, if you could say hi.
Good morning. Hi, guys.
She'll be teaching intervention specialist for the 8th grade. And Eric, if you want to introduce yourself.
Good morning.
And he'll be the 7th grade intervention specialist. All right. So we're so excited to meet you all. Like I said, I'll talk myself and then I'll let Miss Lutwin explain a little bit about herself, but just welcome back. I'm going to be your math teacher for the upcoming school year. I understand this is going to be a lot different than what we're used to with kids coming to school, and we're going to have a lot of hiccups, I'm sure, next week with technology and kids getting on and not having their stuff muted and not being able to get on a video and all that sort of stuff. I just want to assure everybody that us as teachers are going through the same thing that the students are going through and the parents are going through and even our administrators are going through. But we want to stay positive and have a great school year. There's a little bit about myself. I'm not going to read everything, but I'll let Miss Lutwin say a few words. Hold on, Miss Lutwin, let me mute mine.
Good morning, everybody. It's so nice to see you all after being off for 5 months. We are so excited with the technology and the curriculum that we have going on this fall. It's going to look a lot different than it did in the spring, but that's okay. We have been hard at work here coming to school for the last 3.5 weeks, so we can get ready to teach your kids. We're really looking forward to this year, and anytime you have a question or an issue, if we don't know the answer, we will be honest with you and tell you we don't know the answer, but we will work hard to try and find an answer for you. One of the best ways I think this year to communicate with parents is strictly through email. I know just in the last couple of days, we have gotten a lot of information from the district that can't always be texted. I know we're not going to be using Class Dojo as often. We're going to kind of veer away from that. So emails are the best way to get a hold of us, because we're always in front of not 1, 2 computers all day long. So it's good to see everybody. I'm glad that you're back. Mr. Hyatt?
Morning, everybody. Welcome back. These are strange times, but we're going to make the very best of it. Like Ms. Lutwin said, please feel free to contact us. This may be a difficult start, but we're going to do the very best we can to make it run as smoothly as possible. So please reach out. We're here to help, and we're going to have a good year. Thank you for being here. Mr. Weemels.
Good morning, parents. Welcome back. So excited that you're here, and just want to say that I'm looking forward to working with your chairman this year. It's definitely going to be a learning experience.
And as you've heard,
to reassure you that we're going to do everything we can that children this year, everything we can children this year, and questions that they may have, all the questions that they may have, and so that we can. I say welcome back, and look forward to seeing your children next Tuesday. Seeing your children next Tuesday.
Christy, you want to go ahead and say a few words?
Hi, good morning. My name's Mrs. Seeger. I am going to be working with 8th grade this year, so I'm super excited to follow my students from last year, but I will be here for the whole team, 7 and 8, and I know this is very overwhelming for a lot of us, but we're here for you guys. So thank you for being here, parents, for logging in at work, at home, and there will be hiccups, but we have Mr. Robleski on the team and he's great with tech, so we're in good hands. Mr. Robleski, would you like to talk?
Yeah, hi, yes, I'm Mr. Robleski, Mr. W around RG Jones. I have the privilege of being the 7th grade intervention specialist this year. I'm excited to be working with 7th grade and with this wonderful team for another year. What'll be interesting for me is that some of our lovely students who will be in 7th grade year, I met many of them way back when they were kindergartners. So this will be kind of exciting for me to see how some of our students have grown, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so we're going to progress through this PowerPoint that we put together for your parents, and at the end we're going to answer a bunch of questions. I'm sure there's questions coming through the chat that Miss Seeger and Mr. Robleski are going to be manning, but we'll get our questions at the end.
Okay, so it looks like I'm up first. We have a new curriculum this year that is very exciting. I was super excited when I opened it because many of the books that we're going to be reading this year are books that I've taught for years. So if you look at some of the titles, we're going to read some Langston Hughes in 7th grade. In 8th grade, we're going to be reading a really cool story to begin with about these 5 sisters who go on an adventure, and it's called Summer of the Mariposas. Back to 7th grade, the book that we're going to start with is called A Long Walk to Water, and it is about the Lost Boys of Sudan. And I've been teaching that topic for the last 12 years, so I was very excited to see some of the titles on here. As far as we know, we will not have those big, huge phone book looking workbooks that we used last year. Everything is going to be nice and neat and compact on our computers. So I will start off with our books. We might have days where I read to the students, and then during the asynchronous time, which is the time that the kids are off working on their own, they'll probably have to read a chapter or 2 on their own. What I would say to the parents every day is just make sure that you check your students' work, make sure that they're turning in something every day. Again, it's going to be a lot different than the spring. This year we have daily assignments. We will be teaching the kids electronically. We will be giving them work to them electronically. And we will still try to have that sort of human connection. And hopefully when this is all over, we can come back to school and have some normalcy. So just if you look at the page that Mr. Cobb has up, those are some of the titles that we are reading. If you want to go and explore them ahead of time, by all means, go right ahead. And I'm just looking forward to trying out this new avenue.
All right, looking at social studies, we have our textbook series that we've used in the past, so we'll still be using that curriculum, but it'll be all digitally managed. So we will be getting to that, but initially we're starting with 7th grade. We're doing a unit on cost benefit analysis and determining why different cultures specialized in specific trades. 8th grade, we're going to focus on protest and activism, looking a lot at primary sources, things that have happened that we can study directly. each day will start with 30 minutes live where we're typically reading, lots of discussion, and having kids think about what's going on and discussing that in further detail. Then they're going to go off on their own and do some processing of the information themselves. Each day we'll continue watching 10 minutes of the CNN 10, which gives us a look at the daily news around the world. And if you have any questions about the content or what's going on, please feel free to contact me and we can talk about that and help you through it. On top of that, we have Newsella, where we're going to be looking at different articles and processing those, and iCivics, which is specifically for our 8th graders this year, looking at civic participation and our government. Couldn't be a better year for that. So I look forward to working with all of the students and parents. All right, we'll see you soon.
All right, so this is Mr. Cobb for math, and we have a whole new curriculum. It's called Into Math, which we'll be using this year. I'll be using some Khan Academy as well as Waggle. You see at the bottom there. With the 7th grade, we're going to start with a unit on ratio and proportional relationships, basically talking about unit rate and recognizing relationships between quantities, using proportional relationships to solve multi-step problems and such. 8th grade, we're going to be primarily starting with expressions and equations, staying with their state standards, properties of exponents, square roots, scientific notation, and that. What I want everybody to understand is that I know that at the end of last year, they missed some time with the quarter ending. We're going to dive right into the curriculum for 7th and 8th grade. And with this virtual environment, I'll be able to pull kids out in small groups and work with some students who are having difficulties in maybe a standard that is below grade level or struggling with facts. So I would encourage parents, and we'll talk about this towards the end, if you have a scientific calculator at home, have one for the students so that they don't get bogged down on the computation and able to understand the theories behind the mathematics that I'm teaching. Also, this first week, there'll be a lot of lessons on taking pictures of things, uploading files onto their computers, sending things to me via an email, via a message on Schoology. So we're going to be working through this process together, and hopefully we'll have a really good time. I'm excited about it, and that's about it. I think Mr. Weimels, you're next. Hold on a second.
Okay, in terms of science, we're going to utilize the same textbooks that we have been using in the past, which is our Science Fusion series. The nice thing about this series is that it's available digitally, so students will need my book.
I'm just trying to develop some routines for my class. So we'll typically start class with like some type of daily warm-up, or it could be like a video, and then the focus is a lot of focus on the units.
I'm just trying to develop some routines for my class. So we'll start
there'll be
like
some virtual classes
video
throughout the units,
and then
as well as virtual labs.
focus
And
is
my goal is to also include
a lot of focus on the units beyond vocabulary, which is
and
important science,
use Newsella, which is new for science this year.
terms. There'll be some virtual lessons given throughout the units, as well as virtual labs. And my goal is to also include some virtual field trips for the students. And we too are going to use Newsella, which is new for science this year. I'm very excited about this program. We've received some training on it, and it seems to be like an excellent program, and I think the students are really going to enjoy it. Another thing that we're going to use this year is BrainPop, which is also nice for the students. They seem to enjoy those activities. And another person that I enjoy sharing with the students his lessons is Mystery Doug. We used them last year, and the kids seem to like Mr. Doug. So
Right, this is Mr.
use
Cobbin.
that as well. So we're going to be doing all kinds of different things this year, and as the year goes on,
Mr. Weimels is still talking, correct?
I'm going to try.
Ms. Seeger, can you tell me if you still hear Mr. Weimels talking still?
Things for students to do relating to science. So very excited about this year and look forward to working with the students starting next Tuesday. Have a great day.
Mr. Robleski or Ms. Seeger, can you unmute yourself real quick?
Now what you need?
When Mr. Weimels was talking, how was his sound quality?
Choppy. And that was after Mr. Hyatt muted his microphone.
Yeah, it was laggy.
And I thought it was laggy, like where it was coming back a long time. So these are the technical difficulties that we'll be working through, and we'll get fixed before hopefully next Tuesday. Okay, let's move on. Attendance policy. Many parents have been asking myself through text messages about the attendance policy. Remote learn. The district has came out with their attendance policy, and it states remote learners working with or without technology will be considered present if paper, packet assignments, or projects are submitted on time. If your child misses the live class in the learning management system, which is going to be Schoology, that's the LMS we're using, your child has until the end of the school day to log in and watch the recorded lesson for the day. Your child's login will be used as evidence that he or she was present. Now, this policy right there is district-wide. A student's school schedule. We will report from 8:20 to 8:30 is their reporting time, meaning they'll log on to their computers, turn them on, get them all fired up. I would suggest me doing this, my son at home with my internet. I have him go on even earlier than that and get his computer fired up so it's all ready to go. But at 8:30, every student's going to have a morning meeting with their homeroom teacher. My homeroom, my homeroom teacher, I'll have a morning meeting with my homeroom. Same with Ms. Lutwin, Mr. Hyatt, Mr. Weimels. At 9 o'clock, they will switch their specials, which are homeroom specific. I know my kids start on Monday with Media Center. Tuesday they have gym. Thursday they have computers, and Friday they have music. But they'll be with their specials live for 30 minutes. From 9:25 to 9:50, they'll be independently working. So when you hear or you see the words synchronous and asynchronous, synchronous would be like we're doing right now, live teaching, presenting something. Asynchronous would be when they're on their own, doing an assignment, not video chat, conferencing with the teacher, not one-on-one with, say, Ms. Seeger or myself or whoever. At 9:50, they would go live with one of their classes. Say, if it was my homeroom, they would have math with me live for 30 minutes. At 10:20, they'd have 30 minutes of independent work for math. At 10:50, if this was my homeroom, I should say, they would go to Ms. Lutwin live for her ELA class for 30 minutes from 10:50 to 11:20. And at 11:20, they have lunch. Now that independent time for Ms. Lutwin will be built into that lunch period. The district's giving students 100 minutes for lunch and independent work. So from 11:20 in the morning till 1 o'clock, they'll be in lunch. And that's lunch if they're going to walk up to the school and pick up, or a school to pick up a lunch and come back and work on Ms. Lutwin or myself or some independent work on their computer. But at 1 o'clock, they would start with their next subject area. Staying on my homeroom, it would be Mr. Weimels. They'd have Mr. Weimels live for science for 30 minutes. 1:30, they'd have a half an hour of independent work, working on an assignment for Mr. Weimels. 2 o'clock, they would go to Mr. Hyatt, click on his class, have live 30 minutes with Mr. Hyatt, lesson he's presenting that day, and then from 2:30 to 3 o'clock, they're independently working on Mr. Hyatt's work for that day. 3 o'clock, they're done. And if I go back to that attendance policy, if for some reason they would miss a live class, these live classes are being recorded where students can go back and look at it. We would not encourage that, though. There's been a lot of messages we've been receiving up at school that students are having a hard time or not being able to log on to Clever. If Christy or Ms. Lutwin or someone want to talk about logging on to Clever, I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, I can, and I just want to address really quickly first. Some of you are mentioning that you don't know what homeroom your student is in. So the last few days, I know I've been calling the parents of the students in my homeroom. So they will be in room 203. Mr. Cobb's homeroom, he's contacted all of the parents inside, in his homeroom class, he's 209. Mr. Hyatt is 204. And Mr. Weimels is 210. So if you've already spoken with us, then great, we've got your emails, we can send you updates. Sometimes though, the district has so much going on that they have not assigned a student to a homeroom. So we check our rosters a few times every day with the district to see if anybody has been added, because we also want to make sure that we get pertinent information to them. So we've been paying attention to all of the messages, how to find out what homeroom they're in. Please know that we've just been reaching out and calling you. Now, if you have a number that is different than the one in the spring, you can email. I put my email address in the chat box. Mr. Weimels put his email in the chat box. So if you just email one of us, we can, all four of us are here together every single day. So we'll figure it out. In terms of Clever, I sent instructions out to my parents, and I think everybody else did. It was a sheet that we emailed to everybody about how to log into Clever. So the very first thing that you want to do is make sure before students go to bed is that their computers are plugged in, because if they end up unplugging the laptop and going somewhere else, we want to make sure that they have a full battery. So Clever is sort of a platform that is housing all of the curriculum that all of the teachers are using in the district. There's some pre-K or kindergarten, first grade information in Clever. Those teachers are going to use that. We obviously are going to use the middle school information in Clever. So what we've been sending to parents is the email, and you'll see that at the bottom where it says first name dot last name at cmsdk12.org. So that's an email address. What we do with that is coming. The username and password that everybody has used, or that everybody has received rather, is to log into Clever. There, they're going to be prompted to join, is it Teams or Schoology first? Schoology. Okay, so Schoology is the platform that we're going to be using that has all the middle school curriculum in it. I tell kids, even when they are in my classroom, keys are all keys, but they don't unlock every single door. So just because a student puts in a letter K and they can't log on, it might not be the wrong password. You just have to double check and make sure if the caps key is on, is it a capital K, is it a lowercase k? And through email, we've sent everybody username and logins. So if you're still having problems, I would give it till maybe Monday, because I know that they're still working on putting things together. What we also have to remember is there's 4,000 teachers and there's about 40,000 students. And so everybody is important. Everybody wants to get their needs addressed. We will do everything that we can. In terms of that attendance, the ideal situation is to have your students in class with us every single day for all of the classes. But we also know with parents going back to work, sometimes the kids have to take care of younger ones. I've had students many times over the years where, you know, they have to get kids dressed and give them breakfast and, you know, help them get their book bags together. So if they miss part of the lesson, or if they were there for the lesson and they need reteaching, that's what the recordings are for. So we're making sure we're really available to you. Even if it's 10 o'clock at night, they could watch that lesson over again. To go back to the Clever login, I know some people are trying to log in. I would say to at least give it another couple of days before you try. I also would recommend that you just make sure your laptops are in good working order. Is that the last slide, Mr. Cobb? Yes, yeah, there is a pickup tomorrow for Chromebooks for people who do not have one. If your student has an iPad, I do know the students in K-1-2 are using iPads. So if your middle school student has an iPad, you can bring it back, and the Chromebooks are being used for grades 3 through 8. We included the student workspace at home, just an example of how a workspace could look if it's in a student's bedroom, if it's on your dining room table. Sometimes kids just want a place to call their own. So if you look at some of the examples, you could even Google student workspaces while we do remote learning. It's just a place where it's very kind of secluded. They're not going to have a lot of distractions. If you look at the main picture here, the student has a picture of a schedule, there's a calendar. Remember, you know, an organized mind is an organized workspace is really best practices. I know sometimes when I look at my desk at school after a couple of months, it feels really good when you sort of clear out the clutter and you have a neat space to work in. We would say always make sure your devices are plugged in before you go to bed at night or when you're done working for the day, so you have a battery that's charged the entire time. In terms of the Chromebooks, I do believe the times, and maybe the teachers can correct me if I'm wrong, the times for picking up Chromebooks are from 10 until 12 tomorrow. So if you have an iPad for your middle school student, you can trade that in. If you still have a device from the spring, fantastic. And if you have nothing, you can come on up and we'll get you set up. Is there any other slides after that?
I know there's one more slide. I know Miss Matheny was asking about her Chris not being able to sign into his Chromebook. What is the number that was posted, Mr. W, that the parents can call for tech support? 838-0440. Okay, let's go to the last slide here. As far as supplies.
Can you say that number again, Mr. Cobb?
838. It's in the chat. I think they put it 0440. All right. As far as supplies go, and parents have called and texted me and asked me about uniforms and supplies, and are the kids required to wear uniforms? The kids are not required to wear uniforms as at your house and virtually. What we're asking them to do is, you know, be appropriately school dressed. If they're wearing a hoodie, please not have it up. You know, we'd like them not to be laying in bed. eating breakfast or lunch or snacks like that, even though they can have something on the side. But it is a school environment. We want to treat it as such, where they are going to school from 8:30 to 3 o'clock each day, even though at this time it's not the traditional school where they're coming up here to R.G. Jones and switching classes. So as far as the supplies go, we're asking that anything that your child needs to be organized for each of their classes. We had on the first part, for my math class, they should have a notebook dedicated to math, an English ELA dedicated to Miss Lutwin's class, a science notebook dedicated to Mr. Weemel's class, as well as Mr. Hyatt's social studies class, a notebook for him. Any pens, pencils, anything they can keep, highlighters to keep notes neat, highlight things. If they have problems with hearing, earbuds or headphones plugged in would be helpful, especially if there's other children in the house, dogs barking, other distractions. They can turn their headsets on a little bit and be more focused. I mentioned earlier about the scientific calculator. Texas Instruments, I prefer. Don't go out and spend a crazy amount of money on a scientific calculator. You get a scientific calculator for under $10. If you do not want to purchase one, there's calculator.net, which they can open another browser on their computer and use calculator.net to do some computations. Many folders to keep organized would be helpful. As I go back to that screen, it looks like Paige is pretty organized there with her calendar and her schedule and her little cubby hole there. That little trifold would be nice if she was at a kitchen table or somewhere in the living room. Probably be nice to try to keep the TVs off, so not watching TV and trying to listen to Mr. Cobb's math lesson. And a comfortable environment where they're feeling comfortable and they're going to be able to see their classmates. They're going to be taking class, albeit not like us in the classroom, but much different than it was at the end of last year when COVID first hit. The district has rolled out a very, very thorough plan on how we want to go about educating our kids. And I want to sidebar that, making sure that you know that all four of us here at school, as well as Mr. W and Ms. Seeger, who aren't at the school momentarily, are all here for your kids. We're here to make sure that you have all your answers or your questions are answered. You're comfortable. I know there's going to be challenges with technology, and there's going to be challenges with childcare and such, but we're going to be here to help you out the best we possibly can and educate your child during this COVID time where we're not able to see them face to face. Now, I guess I want to stop. That's our last slide. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and basically let's open it up to some questions. So if you guys see at the bottom on there should be a way to raise your hand, or if let's just does any parent have a question?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asserting
Hello,
that
this is Nevaeh May-Lisa. I might have a question.
Okay. Go ahead, Deborah.
How are you guys doing?
Very good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Okay, so the question is, how are the students going to know what classroom to log in and at what time? Like, is there a way to get a schedule emailed to my email address so that way I can hang it up for her? Because as you know, Nevaeh is she doesn't know when to do stuff sometimes. So I have to find a way to help her, especially since I work during the day.
So you broke up a little bit, but if I paraphrase your question, you're wondering about getting your schedule out so you know where she's going to be, so you can help her navigate. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, but she has to log on and then log back off and then log back on at a certain time. Like that's already confusing enough for her.
All right, so here, let me answer that. I think, and we're not actually when it's asynchronous time, she's not logging off to the computer. She would be leaving our class. Let me show you an example here. If you can see this screen here, I'm going to pull up. Let me just get rid of this. How do I get rid of this? Just say it's done right there. All right, let me pull up a class.
Jeremy, if you need help,
Now,
you can talk to Mr. Stigl. He's right here for helping you.
okay,
Don't
so,
try to guess or look in the computer because they know if you are cheating.
Can everybody make sure they're on mute, please? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Cobb, sorry.
okay, if everybody can see in front of you right there, there's the my Schoology page at the moment. So I have my math and my 7th grade math, which is linked, and my 8th grade. What your children will see when they log on to Schoology, they'll see Mr. Cobb's math class. They'll see Mr. Hyatt's social studies class, Miss Lutwin's English language arts class, Mr. Weimel's science class. They also have an art class. They'll have a music class. They'll have a gym class. Okay. When they go into there, if they were in my class, they would click into my class, go into my class, and go into Tuesday to the whatever we're doing in the virtual lesson, and they would boom log on to what we're meet face to face to have the lesson. When they're done, that meeting would end. In a very short minute, when we're all done answering all you guys' questions, our meeting will end, and then they will stay in this room, but they would now complete an assignment they're going to complete, some notes or something they're going to work on. So to answer your question, Ms. Maley, they're not actually signing back on. They would just go back to click courses. Say at 10:30 they had to go to Mr. Hyatt's. They would hit courses, and then they would click social studies, and they would go into Mr. Hyatt's social studies class. And we're streamlining here at RG Jones to try to make those transitions, and these are conversations we've had up here as teachers for the last 3 weeks, those transitions as seamless as possible. Does that help answer your question at all?
It kind of does, but I feel like, especially with switching classes, that she's going to need a schedule to be right in front of her to tell her what time to go to the next class.
Can I add something real quick, Mr. Cobb?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Ms. Maley, especially with the students that have IEPs, I will make a schedule and I'll email it so that they know what classes they're having. It's just going to be simple, just so Nevaeh can see she has her morning meeting and then what class she goes to next, just that, one paper so that she can hang up. So we'll get that.
Yeah,
it won't be a problem.
We can't keep track.
Okay.
Well, and I want to add too, because I think this is very important. The only thing the student has to do is log on and join their homeroom. We have a schedule printed out for all of the kids. So like if you're looking at Mr. Cobb's student schedule, we all have one for our students for during the morning meeting. So that morning meeting starts at 8:30 and it goes until 9. That very first day on Tuesday, just like we would if we were in person learning, we would give the kids a copy of their schedule. They'll have that on their morning meeting. They will have that every single morning when they log on. And just like what you saw with his classes, they know that they're going to leave my class, go to specials, come back to my class for instruction, and then I'll tell them where to go. So we're not going to leave them. There's only one login all day long. If they're on from 8:30 till 3 o'clock, they will never have to log off and log back into somebody else's class. The way that Schoology is set up is they just click on the icon that shows what class they have next.
And what we can possibly do, Ms. Maley, they'll have that rolling out. So does that help answer your question?
Yes, it does. And I just have now one more question. Will the kids be able to discuss any questions with you during these live lessons, or is it better off for them to email you to get the help that they need?
You want to answer that?
He's asking if that the kids will be able to ask us questions during live.
Most
lesson.
definitely, most definitely.
It's going to be just like this. So we are going to be the administrator of our classes. We'll be able to see all of the kids. Anybody who has a question, they can raise their hand. You can even raise a hand electronically. We're all going to have a normal class. It's just going to be in front of a laptop. What we are saying for email is any kind of a communication in regards to, hey, I am going to be out of school on Friday. I just wanted to know if you could, let me know if I'm missing anything big, just normal parent contact stuff. But our goal is to communicate with the kids all throughout the day. And it's very similar to like when I have kids in my room and we're reading a book. Usually for the first half of the class, I will read a chapter to the kids. We'll have a little bit of discussion, and then I'll say, okay, read chapter 2 on your own. This is synchronous learning where we have 30 minutes of all of us teaching the kids. And then we say, okay, now we need you to go off and try this on your own for the asynchronous time, for the non-live time. But we're always available to ask questions. We are not hands off. Anything that anybody needs to be successful. And it's going to be overwhelming at first. You should have seen all 4 of us when we were first trying to learn this. It was very overwhelming. I was texting panic messages to Ms. Seeger and Mr. W saying, help me. But once we get used to it, and we're not going to give them everything all at once, we're going to master Schoology first, and then we're going to do a few assignments, and we're not going to be here to overwhelm them. That's essentially what I'm trying to say, is that we don't want to overwhelm anybody. We want everybody to be successful because, it's going to last for 9 weeks. Are there other questions?
Yes, I have a question. I'm sorry. This is Tony Yash. My question is, and I understand that, like, if Abigail misses, maybe she'll miss her first class or part of her second class because of a medical appointment, then she'll come back and log on and find out what class she's supposed to be in. Is there somebody that we should notify if she's going to be out from like 11 to possibly 1? I mean, I just don't want, or she would come home and just log in and find out where she's supposed to be by her schedule and then just join that class wherever they're at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mr. Cobb's going to bring up the schedule. And so
why are they making this shit so complicated?
The example
It's making H's as fuck.
If we're going to use that example of the schedule, so for example, you said that maybe from 11:30 to 1, Abigail's not going to be in class. You would look at that schedule and say, okay, that's her asynchronous time. That's her independent work time, and that's lunch. So it's okay if we miss that. What I would recommend you do is just what you do when you come to school. If she's going to miss her first 2 periods and then come to school, she's going to go to 3rd period. She's going to go to wherever her class is, do her live learning, and then go back and watch the video for the 2 classes that she missed while she was out. If she's happened to miss a time where she's missing live class.
So if she had first of all, am I muted? No. Okay. So if you had this schedule, for example, this is my schedule right here. I know Miss Matheny was asking about Chris. Chris is in my homeroom. This is Chris's schedule. So Chris would report at 8:20, be on his computer. At 8:30 to 9 o'clock, he's going to have a homeroom meeting with all his students that are in his homeroom and Mr. Cobb. We're going to be doing some activities, and I'll be taking attendance and other such. But for those, they'll have time to ask questions, get people logged on, just like we did in our meeting. And obviously, starting Tuesday, there's going to be some anxiousness. There's going to be some worry. We want to take all that worry and anxious away from the children, most importantly. the parents, most importantly, as well as us as teachers. So this period from 8:30 to 9 o'clock, say for example, Chris had an appointment and he wasn't going to make it there to that meeting. Maybe he could send a message this through Schoology that will go to Mr. Cobb saying, "Oh, Mr. Cobb, I have a dentist appointment. I won't be at my morning meeting or specials. Can you?" And he might send a message to his special teacher that day, but he'll be back in the class where he'll log on for my math class here that is live at 9:50. He'll go for my 9:50 class, the 30 minutes live. He'll do something independently for that day, an assignment, what have you, a discussion post for my math class, and then I'll move to Miss Lutwin's class where he'll have live instruction there. As she mentioned, he's not having to log off his computer. He's not doing any of that. He's just a matter of clicking the course at the top and moving from course to course. I have a feeling that the kids are going to do a lot better than this than the adults will. Just got a feeling about that. So, but they'll move through this. And as far as being able to talk to us at any time, parents or students during the school day, we can make time as well. We have asynchronous time or meeting time where we can hook up with you at a certain time or answer a parent's question. Wednesday is a non-traditional day for students as well as teachers. So Wednesday is not it's an independent work all day. They won't be synchronous with Mr. Cobb or Mr. Hyatt, Mr. Weemels, or anyone else, Ms. Lutwin. They're going to be have all day Wednesday to do independent work and activities. There's going to be meetings. There's going to be small group sessions. The district is using that as all you can do, get caught up day.
Mr. Cobb, can I jump in
Yes.
real quick? This is Mrs. Seeger. I see in the chat a lot of parents are asking about students with IEPs. Wednesdays will be the day that Mr. W and I will be working in small groups with the students on their goals and their IEP. So we will address that a lot on Wednesdays, but we'll also be working with the students during the other times, during Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And so we'll kind of give you, when we get closer to having our schedule complete, we'll let you know what days and times Mr. W and I will be working and focusing just on those skills with the students with IEPs. Did you want to add anything, Mr. W?
Exactly what Ms. Seeger said. I mean, we're going to be there to support the students, of course, so that they're getting their intervention. We're trying to make it so that the schedule is equitable to our students and that they're receiving the support in the best way that we could possibly do in this remote environment. So, but we'll let you know as this starts to congeal and we get a good picture of how we're going to run this.
Any other questions from any parents, students?
Yes, I have a question. Do they intermissions for like if they have to use the restroom? Is there a certain lunch time we could make the stuff like that?
Oh, most definitely. If you were looking at, let me share again here, sir. So if you were looking at the schedule here, and they have 100 minutes for lunch in the middle of the day from 11:20 to 1 o'clock, they have lunch. So if they need to use restroom there, but obviously when they are synchronous, for example, say I'm using Chris as an example. I know he's in my homeroom. Say Chris is having my class here at 9:50 for math, from 9:50 to 10:20, and we're going over a math lesson for 30 minutes. And say Chris is going to have to use the bathroom, and say he had to go real quick and get back, he might miss a smidgen. Or maybe he can hold it a little bit and know that at 10:20, from 10:20 to 10:50, he's going to be independently working on math. So maybe he uses the restroom at that time when he's not live with his teacher. anytime that we have those asynchronous times where up here in my schedule, and you'll see on your student schedule where it says independent work, that might be a time when they use the restroom or grab a snack or something. Does that help answer your question?
Totally. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Yes, I have one more question. On Wednesday, do they still have to log into their homeroom at 8:30?
There's no morning meeting on Wednesday. No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
They may have asynchronous work from the day before, or as Ms. Seeger said, she might have a time set up where she's going to be working with small group on a math lesson or an English lesson or what have you. Okay. Any other
How
questions?
would they, I have a question.
Yep.
How will they be able to check the attendance for Wednesday then? Do they like just message you or?
No, they'll know when they log on. They'll stamp on their attendance on Wednesday. That's a good question too, by the way. I believe when they log on, the district stamps that they had to log on, they were logged on at that time.
Hi, Mr. Cobb. This is Melissa Watts, the principal.
Ms. Watts can answer that question. I know that.
Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
So nice to see all your faces. Welcome back to a new exciting school year. Attendance on Wednesdays is going to be accounted for by your assignment. So say, for example, Mr. Cobb gives the kids a math assignment to do in independent time on Tuesday. He's going to give them enough work to keep them busy and working on Wednesday. And when he checks that assignment on Thursday, if they did the assignment, they get credit for attendance on Wednesday. So Wednesday's attendance is based on completing an assignment, not logging into the computer. Does that make sense? Did that help?
Ms. Watts, the question also from Ms. Maley was we don't have any morning meetings on Wednesday, correct?
Correct. Wednesday is completely independent work time. It's a chance for the kids to finish their work, to practice, to do writing assignments, things like that. It's completely independent work. They do not have to log in to be marked for attendance.
Perfect. Any other questions from any parents?
Yes, my name is Joanne, and my grandson is in the 7th grade there. So my phone went out. So they put Clever into the search engine and go from Clever to Schoology.
Let me try to, I'm going to share my screen and show you. What's your name, ma'am?
Joanne.
Hi, Joanne. I'm Mr. Cobb.
Hi, Mr. Cobb.
Hello there. Let me share my screen for a second.
Also, if you gave your email to your teachers, we can email you a little video tutorial on how to do that.
I would love that, but here's the thing. He's my grandson, and he's staying with me, and hopefully his mother did the correct thing and called the school to add my emails, and she's very hard to get a hold of and to respond to me. So I'm afraid I'm going to miss things for him.
You know, why don't you go ahead and, I couldn't talk about an individual child, but I can certainly share the video. Go ahead and put your email in the chat and we'll send it to you as well.
You emailed me yesterday. This is Ms. Lutt. When you emailed me yesterday and I forwarded your email to Mr. Weimels and Mr. Hyatt because they're the 7th grade homeroom teachers. We just don't know what homeroom he's in yet. So when we got in this morning, we knew just from our checklist, we had to make sure that we emailed these parents. So your email is on file with us. You're good.
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Nice to meet you.
So if you're looking at my screen right now, if anybody can see it, that's the Cleveland Metropolitan School District web homepage. Off to the side here, you'll see students, parents, and staff. If you go to students right there, Clever will be right down here. And when they click on Clever, this is going to it's going to go right to mine because I'm already signed in. But it went right to my Clever page. But okay, so this is my school. They would have a little thing there that would say you'd click on it, and they would log in with their email and their password to log into the system. So once they log into that, they're going to have their page, which will probably say your grandson's name up here, and his Clever page. So this right here is Schoology. When I click this Schoology, that will take you to our learning management system, which I was showing before. If I click it right here, which will take it to his courses, and his courses will be over here. There'll be upcoming events for him over here that you already started to see populated. And if he's in either Mr. Hyatt or Mr. Weimel's home morning meeting, see, my morning meeting is right here. So if you would click his morning meeting at 8:30, go to the morning meeting, and we would click and join, which I'm going to talk to our teachers before. I think we're going to have our live link more accessible up in the beginning. So they would click that live link and easily get right to the morning meeting with us for 30 minutes.
Okay, and he knows his email and his password. This is nothing, he needs a new thing. It's the one he's always used.
No, it's going to be one that Mr. Weimels or Mr. Hyatt send to you, along with his name and password. Yep.
We'll shoot,
okay.
And we'll shoot that information out to you, to the email that you sent, Ms. Lutwin. Is that good?
Okay. Yes, that is perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions? He wants to talk. Go ahead, Mr. Hyatt.
This is Mr. Hyatt. We don't know what homeroom Thomas is going to be in yet, but
you're on mute.
I can't hear him.
Yeah,
is he talking to me?
Mute. Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Mr. Weimels and I don't know what homeroom he's in yet, but you'll be included in all of our emails. Once he's in the school system and we get his username.
He was there last year.
Okay, he's not in our homeroom yet. Once we have him in our homeroom, I can forward you his information. But until then, we'll keep you up to date on everything else, just so you don't feel like you're out of.
I know, I'm so scared.
No, we'll help you through it.
Yeah, and there's no need to be scared. Listen, we'll make it through. This is gonna be an outstanding year. We're just starting a little bit different, and we're in this different, crazy time in our country. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, you guys. That makes me feel a lot better. I'm sure all the parents, right, guys?
I see, Miss Serta, you got my email, correct? You have to unmute yourself. There she goes.
I logged in, so I did get one email, and that was a Zoom one. I'm not sure if, see, what happened was that they were sending everything to his father.
Okay.
And he's like, well, I got a call, and they left a voice message, but he's a truck driver, so he's always on the road. So I just got some of the emails, like he forwarded me some.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they did that to our daughter as well, so I'm not sure if that's what was happening. I know that the phone number that they have on file.
Are you the YARIBELL Serta at yahoo.com?
Yep.
That's it. Okay. That'll be the one I'll send any information if you need to hear from us.
And his homeroom teacher is his homeroom teacher?
Yes, I am, Mr. Gabas.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Great.
Hi, Jalen. He can get on camera if he wants. We like to see our kids. Hey, Jalen.
He's excited to be back.
Good to see you. Oh, he's got his hair grew. All right. Any other questions from any of the parents? Yeah, as Miss Lutt was just saying to us, if you think of anything, please just email. I believe all the teachers put our emails in the chat. So if you look through the chat, my email is kevin.cobb@clevelandmetroschools.org. So if you need anything, and please don't hesitate to call. Yes, and Ms. Lutwin mentioned it, when you email us, if you could please put your student's name in the subject bar, that would be helpful.
Does this course only last for 9 weeks, or is this the whole school year?
Well, this information, we are right now, we are remote. Cleveland Public Schools are remote for the first 9 weeks. And as my understanding, and Ms. Watts can probably jump in as well, but my understanding is that the district's going to reevaluate as we get closer to that 9 weeks, depending on the temperature of the Cuyahoga County and such. So we're planning on starting and making sure that you guys get the best education possible, synchronous as well as asynchronous, and then we'll see as we get closer. I know Miss Watts, I'm sorry, just unmuted herself. So go ahead, Miss Watts.
I'm sorry, I missed the very beginning of that question. If you repeat the question, I'll try.
He was wondering if this will only go for the first 9 weeks, or is this going to go on longer through the school year? And we're not sure, right?
I appreciate the question. We don't know. That's the short answer. What the plan is to reevaluate and see how things are going. We all know this is a crazy, uncertain times with Cuyahoga County levels going from orange, and then we went up to red, then we were almost purple, and now we're back down to orange. So we're watching that. The district will make their decision when it gets closer to the end of the 9 weeks, with the sole focus, the sole intent and priority of making sure we maintain the health and safety of our kids. So if it's going to be safe, we'll bring them back. If it's not going to be safe, we may have to extend. We simply don't know.
Does that help, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
This is regarding with multiple kids in the house. Now, if the kids don't get the iPads or the extra computer in time before school, how does that count against them, like, to log in? Because they're supposed to log in at the same time.
Right. Mr. Cobb, I'm going to grab that question, okay?
Perfect.
I appreciate the question, and I understand the challenge with that. I promise I understand it. The district is working so hard to get the devices to every single child by Tuesday. The challenge for getting the computers or the iPads, it's not within Cleveland schools, it's global, because every school in the world literally is trying to buy computers and tablets for their kids. So that's why it's taking a little longer than we had hoped. But I promise you, no child is going to be penalized in any way for not using a computer that we didn't give them. I don't want you to stress about that. The hope is that all your kids can log on and see their teachers at 8:30 on Tuesday. If you do not have enough devices, do not worry about that. Please tell your kids not to worry about that. We expect them to get on when they can, when we give them a device. And if you have any specific questions, if you're not able to get one this week, just call, email, call your teacher, call me, reach out, and we'll help figure out a plan for your kid. But I don't want you to stress to think they're going to be in trouble if they're not on there. Did that help?
Yes, I did. It's just with the first grader and the 8th grader, it's like just trying to figure everything out, especially with work. And
right.
It's a difficult time right now for all of us.
And I do want to reassure you on that too. While we are offering definite times where we will be on the other side of the computer, your teacher will be on the computer at this exact time we're giving that. We don't expect, we know that things will prevent you from doing that. We know we have, some of our little guys are going to be in a daycare, and the daycare may not be able to log them on. So mom may have to do it, at night after dinner. That's why we're recording it. Our goal is to support our kids and to support you. If you have to work, or if they're at a sitter's or they're at a daycare and they don't have access, we're going to help you figure it out. Please feel free to contact us, and I promise we're gonna work one-on-one and help you get there. We want to help alleviate your stress, not add to it.
Ms. Watts?
Yes.
This is Mrs. Seeger. We mentioned in the beginning that they would be able to pick up the technology tomorrow from 10 to 12. Is that a for sure thing, or should they
Yes.
wait to hear from us?
Nope, that one is for sure for grades 2 to 8. In Cleveland, grades pre-K, K, kindergarten, first grade are getting iPads. Grades 2 to 8 are getting Chromebooks. We're passing out Chromebooks tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock. And again, if you're at work or you're unable, call us and let us know. We will figure out a way. I mean, if I have to drive it to your house, I will do that. We're here to help.
All right, we have a question from an iPhone has a hand up, and then the Pickering. I don't think you're a Penny, are you, Penny? You're not Penny.
No, I've been had that up. You already been answered that.
All
I
right.
don't take it down.
All right, cool. I pull it down.
Thank you.
No worries. The iPhone in the middle here. Okay, they put their hand down as well. That's fine. That's Barbara.
Yeah, that was me.
No worries.
Yeah, well, that was me.
All righty. So listen, we appreciate all of you who made the time to come out to the meeting today, and we're looking forward to educating your son or your daughter this school year. And just know that we're here for you. The emails are out there. Anybody that needs any question or has a question, please call, and we'll get it answered as soon as possible. Okay. If there's no more questions, I'm going to end the meeting. And I hope you all have a nice afternoon.
All right, bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.